Your feeling of powerlessness is not a psychological flaw. It is a state of energetic incoherence. Your brain, your heart, and your nervous system are broadcasting a chaotic, low-wattage signal to the quantum field. And the field, in its perfect impersonal physics, is mirroring that chaos back to you as a life of struggle, of limitation, of being a victim. But within your spiritual DNA lies a dormant blueprint. A geometric signature for a different kind of broadcast. An archetype of pure, coherent, high-voltage power. The archetype of the sovereign creator. The ancients called it Zeus. This is not a myth. It is a map of a specific neural and energetic state. A state of absolute alignment where your thoughts do not just hope for a reality, they command it into being. In the next few moments, we will not be talking about mythology. We will be initiating a full system reboot. We will guide you, step by step, through the process of activating this Zeus frequency in your own biology. You will learn to trade the static of your anxiety for the thunderbolt of your own creative command. There is a throne that sits at the very center of your being. It is your seat of power, your command center, the place from which your reality is governed. For most of your life, this throne has sat empty. You have been living in a kingdom without a ruler. And in your absence, chaos has reigned. You have felt this as a lack of direction, a sense of being a victim of circumstance, a feeling that your life is something that is happening to you, not from you. The hidden voice in your head, the voice of the abdicated king, has told you that you are powerless, that others are in charge, that the world is too big and you are too small. But this is the great lie that has kept your kingdom in turmoil. There is an archetype of immense power sleeping within you. The power of the Sky Father. The energy of the king, the queen. The one who sees all, who commands the lightning of clear decision, and who brings order to the chaos. It is the archetype of Zeus. And it is time to take your throne. If you are tired of living as a subject in the kingdom of your own life, if you are ready to pick up the scepter of your own sovereign will, then take a deep, majestic breath. We are not going to ask for power. We are going to remember that we are power. Subscribe and join this coronation, because the ruler has returned. And that ruler is you. Part 1. Let us begin by surveying the kingdom you have been living in. The kingdom of the empty throne. Let us, with unflinching and compassionate honesty, look upon the state of your realm. Feel it now. That subtle, pervasive, background hum of powerlessness. It is the feeling of being a leaf in the wind, of being carried along by currents you did not create and do not control. It is the feeling that your life is a series of reactions, not creations. The alarm clock rings, and you react. An email arrives, and you react. Someone makes a demand, and you react. You move through your days in a state of defensiveness, a pawn on a chessboard, always responding to the moves of others, never initiating your own. Look at the state of your finances. The kingdom of your abundance. With no conscious ruler on the throne, this province is in chaos. Money flows in, and it flows out, seemingly at random. You are at the mercy of the economy, of unexpected bills, of the whims of a boss. You may work hard, you may struggle, but there is no sense of command, no sense of sovereign control over the flow of resources. The treasury is in a state of perpetual anxiety. This is the sign of an empty throne. Look at the state of your relationships. The province of your heart. With no clear ruler, your borders are weak. Others cross them at will. You find yourself saying yes when your heart is screaming no, simply to keep the peace. You find your energy being drained by the demands and dramas of others, because there is no king or queen on the throne to say, thus far and no further. You may be loved, but you do not feel respected. You do not feel sovereign. Your kingdom is being plundered by foreign powers, and you have forgotten you have the authority to stop it. Look at the state of your purpose. The province of your ethos. With no ruler to set a clear direction, the kingdom drifts. You dabble in this, you get interested in that. You start projects and you do not finish them. There is no single, unifying vision that galvanizes the energy of your being. You have 1,000 scattered interests, but no singular, commanding purpose. Your creative and vital life force is being wasted, like an army with no general, its soldiers wandering aimlessly across the landscape. And look, most importantly, at the state of your inner world. The castle itself. It is a place of endless debate and indecision. The hidden voice is not a single, commanding voice of a king. It is a noisy, squabbling parliament of terrified committee members. One voice says, "We should do this." Another screams, "No, that's too risky." A third whispers, "What will people think?" A fourth is worried about failure. And so, no decision is ever truly made. You live in a state of analysis paralysis, of second-guessing, of what-ifs. The throne is empty, and the inner council is in a state of perpetual civil war. This is the kingdom of the abdicated ruler. It is a life lived in the passive voice. It is a life of I have to, I should, I can't. It is a life of waiting. Waiting for permission. Waiting for rescue. Waiting for someone else to come and fix your kingdom for you. This is not a state of sin. It is a state of slumber. You have not lost your power. You have simply forgotten that you have it. You have been hypnotized by a cultural program that has a vested interest in you remaining a subject, not a sovereign. For a world of kings and queens cannot be easily ruled. The first step in reclaiming your throne is to look upon the chaos of your current kingdom, not with shame or despair, but with a new and fiery resolve. You must look at the weeds in the garden, the crumbling walls, the disarray in the treasury, and you must say, with a voice you have not used for a very long time, "No more. This ends now. The ruler has returned." Part 2. Who is this ruler that is returning? Who is this archetype of power that has been sleeping in the heartwood of your soul? In the language of the ancient Greeks, it is Zeus. We must be very careful with this name. The hidden voice of your conditioned mind will immediately leap to the cartoonish, mythological image, a bearded old man on a cloud, throwing thunderbolts, chasing nymphs. That is the exoteric story, the soap opera. We are not interested in that. We are interested in the esoteric truth, the archetypal blueprint that the myth points to. The archetype of Zeus is the archetype of the sky. Father. It is a fundamental pattern of consciousness, a psychic software for sovereignty. It is gender neutral. It is the king and the queen. Let us understand its domain. Zeus is the god of the sky. What is the quality of the sky? It is vast. It is spacious. It is all-encompassing. Unlike the gods of the earth, who are involved in the messy, cyclical drama of life and death, the sky god has perspective. To activate the Zeus archetype is to learn to rise above the clouds of your own daily drama, your own emotional turmoil, and to see your life from a higher, wider, more objective vantage point. It is the ability to see the whole board, not just your own single, struggling piece. It is the eagle-eye view. The CEO's perspective. The ruler's vision. Zeus's throne is on Mount Olympus, the highest peak. This is symbolic. The one who embodies the Zeus energy does not live in the valley of reactivity. They live on the mountain of conscious choice. They are not buffeted by the winds of circumstance. They are the one who observes the weather of the world from a place of unshakable stability. To activate Zeus is to find that high, quiet, stable mountain within your own consciousness and to learn to live there. Zeus's primary weapon, his primary tool, is the thunderbolt. What is a thunderbolt? It is a sudden, brilliant, and irreversible flash of light and energy. The thunderbolt is the symbol of the clear, powerful, and unwavering decision. The one who embodies the Zeus archetype is not a ditherer. They do not live in the gray fog of indecision. They are able to take in all the data, to see the whole picture from their sky perspective, and then, with a flash of insight, to make a decision. And once that decision is made, it is final. It is a command that reorganizes the entire kingdom around it. To activate Zeus is to reclaim your power to make sovereign decisions, to stop asking for permission, and to become the one who says, "Let it be so." And finally, Zeus is the king of the gods. He is the bringer of order. His role is not to control every detail, but to establish the law, the principles, the boundaries within which life can flourish. Before Zeus, the myths tell us, the world was ruled by the chaotic, primal, and often monstrous titans. Zeus did not destroy them. He subdued them. He took their raw, chaotic energy and he gave it structure, he gave it order. He created a cosmos out of the chaos. To activate the Zeus archetype is to become the benevolent, ordering force in your own life. It is to look upon the chaos of your inner and outer world and to begin to establish a new order. Not through tyrannical control, but through the implementation of clear principles, clear boundaries, and a clear vision. You become the one who says, "This is acceptable in my kingdom, and this is not. This is the direction we are going. These are the laws by which we shall live." The sky perspective, the mountain of stability, the thunderbolt of decision, the power of divine order. This is the blueprint of the Zeus archetype. It is not a personality to be imitated. It is a set of energetic and psychological functions that are your birthright as a sovereign consciousness. It is the software for rulership. And it has been lying dormant on your hard drive for your entire life, waiting for you to find the courage to run the program. Part 3. Before a ruler can rebuild their kingdom, they must first conduct a thorough and honest assessment of its current state of disrepair. They must identify the areas where their own weakness or absence has allowed chaos to flourish. Let us now conduct this diagnostic. Let us look for the symptoms of a weak Zeus or an abdicated throne in your own life. This is an inquiry of radical self-honesty. As we go through these symptoms, your ego, the hidden voice, may become defensive. It may want to make excuses or blame others. Your task, as the returning sovereign, is to simply observe, to notice, without judgment. Ah, yes. I see that in my kingdom. Symptom number 1. Chronic indecision. This is the hallmark of a weak Zeus. You are faced with a choice, large or small, and you are paralyzed. You make pro and con lists. You ask everyone you know for their opinion. You research endlessly. You are searching for a perfect, risk-free answer that does not exist. You are afraid of your own thunderbolt. The power to make a clear, sovereign decision feels too dangerous. And so you remain in the gray, anxious fog of indecision, and the kingdom remains stagnant, waiting for a command that never comes. Do you recognize this? Symptom number 2. The disease to please. Your borders are weak. Your primary operating principle is not your own inner truth, but the desire for external approval. You are a chameleon, changing your colors, your opinions, your very self, to match the expectations of whatever group you are in. The fear of being disliked, of being rejected, is greater than your commitment to your own sovereignty. You say yes when you mean no. You swallow your truth to avoid conflict. You live your life according to a script written by a committee of other people. Your throne is not just empty, you have invited a host of foreign dignitaries to sit on it and rule in your stead. Is this familiar? Symptom number 3. A life filled with shoulds. Your daily vocabulary is filled with the language of a subject, not a sovereign. I should go to the gym. I have to finish this report. I ought to call my mother. This language implies that the source of authority for your actions is external. It is a rule, an obligation, a sense of guilt. The ruler does not operate from should. The ruler operates from I choose. I will. The energy is completely different. One is the energy of a servant. The other is the energy of a master. Listen to your own internal and external dialogue. Is it the language of a sovereign or the language of a serf? Symptom number 4. Tolerating chaos and disrespect. Look around at your kingdom. Is your physical environment, your home, your office, in a state of chaos and disarray? This is often a direct reflection of an inner state where no ordering principle is in command. Is your time constantly being hijacked by the urgent but unimportant demands of others? Are your boundaries consistently being violated by family members, colleagues, or even your own self-sabotaging habits. The toleration of chaos and disrespect is a clear sign that the king is not on the throne. The ruler, the Zeus energy, is the one who creates and defends sacred, ordered space. Symptom number 5. Blaming external forces. When things go wrong in your kingdom, where do you place the cause? The weak ruler always looks for a scapegoat. It is the fault of the government, the economy, my spouse, my parents, my bad luck. The core belief is, I am a victim of forces beyond my control. The sovereign ruler, the one embodying the Zeus archetype, knows that they are the first cause within their own realm. They take absolute responsibility. They do not blame the weather, they learn to command the clouds. When something goes wrong, the sovereign asks not, whose fault is this? But, what choice did I make that contributed to this outcome, and what new choice can I make now to create a new one? This diagnostic may be uncomfortable. It may reveal how deeply the program of powerlessness has been running. But do not despair. This is not a judgment. It is an assessment. A clear-eyed king must first know the state of his kingdom before he can begin the glorious work of rebuilding it. Seeing the chaos is the first act of reimposing order. Acknowledging your own absence is the first step in reclaiming your throne. Part 4. This understanding of the king, or queen, as a core archetype of the mature psyche is not a New Age invention. It is a central pillar of depth psychology and a foundational element in the study of myth and the human spirit. Carl Jung, the great master of the archetypal realm, identified the king archetype as a fundamental component of the self, the organizing principle of the total psyche. For Jung, the king represents the conscious ego in its highest, most integrated form. He is the one who has successfully journeyed through the underworld of the unconscious, faced his own shadow, integrated his feminine anima, and has returned to rule his inner kingdom with wisdom, consciousness, and a sense of responsibility for the whole. The symbol of the integrated king, for Jung, was often the mandala or the squared circle, a symbol of wholeness, of the reconciliation of all opposites. A weak or absent king archetype leads to a fragmented psyche, a life of chaos and indecision. The goal of individuation, Jung's term for psychological wholeness, is the coronation of this inner ruler. Building on Jung's work, the mythologist and psychologist Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette, in their seminal book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, Rediscovering the Archetypes of the Mature Masculine, provided a powerful and practical map of this inner territory. They described the king as the central archetype that organizes all the others. They also, crucially, described the shadow aspects of the king archetype. The king, in its fullness, is a benevolent, generative, and ordering force. He creates a realm where others can flourish. But the king archetype also has a bipolar shadow. On the one hand, there is the tyrant shadow. This is the king who is afraid of losing control. He rules not through generative power, but through fear, through domination, through micromanagement. He demands absolute loyalty and punishes all dissent. He is the insecure, fearful ruler who secretly knows he is not worthy of the throne. On the other hand, there is the weakling shadow. This is the abdicated king, the one who is afraid to claim his own power. He is paranoid, he avoids decisions, he lets his kingdom fall into chaos, and he abdicates his responsibility, often blaming others for his own weakness. This map is essential. To activate the Zeus archetype is not to become a tyrant. That is simply to be possessed by its shadow. And to remain in a state of powerlessness is to be possessed by the weakling shadow. The true path, the path of the sovereign, is to walk the razor's edge between these two shadows, embodying the generative, ordering, and benevolent power of the integrated king. This is why the work requires so much consciousness. To simply grasp for power for its own sake, without doing the deep inner work of facing one's own shadow, is to risk becoming a tyrant in one's own life, or in the lives of others. The true Zeus does not need to prove his power. He simply is power. And that power is so integrated and so secure that its natural expression is not control, but blessing. It is the creation of a kingdom where all can thrive. This psychological wisdom gives us a safe and mature framework for our activation. We are not calling forth a mythological caricature. we are calling forth the highest, most integrated, and most generative aspect of our own human potential. We are calling forth the king or queen who rules not by force, but by the quiet, unshakable authority of a fully realized self. Part 5. Let us now make this distinction between the shadow king and the sovereign king absolutely clear, through a parable. Let us visit two kingdoms that lie side by side. The first kingdom, the realm of the tyrant. As you approach this kingdom, you feel a sense of unease. The walls are high, the gates are heavily guarded. The atmosphere is thick with suspicion and fear. The tyrant king rules from a place of deep insecurity. He believes his power comes from his control over others. His subjects live in a state of constant anxiety. They are watched. They are monitored. Creativity is stifled, because any new idea is seen as a potential threat to the king's authority. Everyone is encouraged to spy on their neighbors. The king's primary tools are blame and punishment. When something goes wrong, a scapegoat must always be found. The king is never wrong. The energy of this kingdom is contractive, gray, and brittle. There is order, yes, but it is the dead order of a prison, not the living order of a garden. The tyrant sits on his throne, but he is the least free man in the entire kingdom, a prisoner of his own paranoia. The second kingdom, the realm of the sovereign. As you approach this kingdom, you feel a sense of peace and vitality. The gates are open. The fields are fertile. The atmosphere is one of creative collaboration and mutual respect. The sovereign king or queen rules from a place of deep, inner security. He knows that his power does not come from controlling others, but from empowering them. His primary act is to hold a clear, powerful vision for the well-being of the entire kingdom. He is the keeper of the blueprint. He then trusts his subjects, who he has chosen for their unique gifts, to carry out that vision. He does not micromanage. He creates the conditions, the safety, the resources, the clear principles, for them to do their best work. When something goes wrong in this kingdom, the sovereign's first question is not, who is to blame? But, what part of the system has broken down? What can we learn from this? He takes ultimate responsibility. His authority is not based on fear, but on the palpable integrity and wisdom of his being. The energy of this kingdom is expansive, vibrant, and resilient. It is the living, evolving order of a flourishing ecosystem. The sovereign sits on his throne, and his reign is a blessing to all. These two kingdoms are not external places. They are two possible states of your own inner world. You have, within you, both the tyrant and the sovereign. The tyrant is the voice of your fearful ego, the part of you that wants to control everything, that blames others, that is terrified of being seen as weak. The sovereign is the voice of your higher self, the Zeus Archetype, the part of you that is connected to a larger vision, that takes responsibility, and that rules with love and wisdom. The activation of the Zeus Archetype is the conscious and deliberate choice to enthrone the sovereign and to send the tyrant into a peaceful retirement. It is the choice to rule your life from a place of love, not fear. If you are ready to make this choice, to begin the inner work of moving from the tyrant's fortress to the sovereign's garden, then I invite you to make this choice official. Click the like button. Let it be the moment of your own inner coronation. A declaration that you are choosing the path of the benevolent ruler over the path of the fearful dictator. This choice is the most important one you will ever make. It is the choice that will determine the weather of your inner kingdom for the rest of your life. It is the choice between living in a prison of your own making, or a garden of your own cultivation. Part 6. Now that you have been coronated, you must learn to wield the primary tool of your new office. You must learn to forge and to throw the thunderbolt. The thunderbolt, as we have said, is the symbol of a clear, powerful, and irreversible sovereign decision. For most of your life, you have not been making real decisions. You have been making preferences, wishes, and tentative choices, always with a back door open, always waiting for external validation. A sovereign decision is different. It is an act of creation. It is a command that you give to yourself and to the universe. And when it is made from the throne of the aligned sovereign, the entire cosmos conspires to support it. Let us learn the technology of forging a thunderbolt. It has 3 stages: gathering the clouds, information; charging the atmosphere, alignment; and the flash, the command. Stage 1. Gathering the clouds. This is the stage of inquiry. A true ruler does not make decisions from a place of ignorance. You must gather the necessary information. But this is not the endless, anxious research of the weak king. This is a focused gathering of data. And crucially, it involves listening to 2 sources, the outer world and the inner world. You listen to the facts of the situation, yes. But you also go into your silence and listen to the counsel of your inner guide, your intuition. You are gathering the weather data from both the earth and the sky. Stage 2. Charging the atmosphere. This is the most crucial and often overlooked stage. Once you have the information, you do not immediately make the choice. You take the question, the choice point, into your own being. You hold it in the sacred space of your heart. And you align your energy with the highest possible outcome. You ask the sovereign question, what is the choice that will serve the highest good of my entire kingdom? You are not asking, what is the safest choice? Or, what is the easiest choice? Or, what choice will make everyone like me? These are the questions of the weak king. You are aligning yourself with your soul's purpose, with the well-being of your whole being. You wait until you feel a clear, calm, resonant yes in your body. You are charging the atmosphere with the coherent energy of your own inner truth. Stage 3. The flash, the command. When that inner yes feels clear and solid, then, and only then, do you act. You make the decision. And you make it absolutely. You throw the thunderbolt. A sovereign decision is a cut. The word decision comes from the Latin decidere, to cut off. When you make a true decision, you cut off all other possibilities. There is no going back. There is no second guessing. You make the decision, and you state it, either inwardly or outwardly, in the language of a sovereign. Not, I think I will try to. But, I have decided. It is done. Let it be so. This act of command, this throwing of the thunderbolt, sends a shockwave of coherent information out into the quantum field. It is a powerful, unambiguous signal. It collapses the infinite probabilities into a single, chosen reality. You have just created a new future. Let's practice this. I want you to bring to mind a small area of your life where you have been in a state of indecision. It could be about a health habit, a small project, a boundary you need to set. Now, quickly, gather the clouds. You already have the data. You know what you need to do. Now, charge the atmosphere. Drop into your heart. Ask, what is the choice that truly serves my highest good? Feel for the inner, yes. Now, forge the thunderbolt. Make the decision. Say the words in your own mind, with the voice of the king or queen. I have decided. I will begin tomorrow. It is done. Feel the power of that. The fog of indecision clears. The inner civil war ceases. There is a sense of clarity, of power, of peace. You have just used the primary tool of your sovereignty. The more you practice this on small things, the more confident you will become in using it to shape the great and important matters of your kingdom. Part 7. The power of Zeus, the power of the sovereign, is not just the power of action. It is the power of perspective. His throne is on the highest mountain for a reason. From there, he can see the entire landscape, not just the immediate crisis in the valley below. To activate the Zeus archetype is to learn to access this view from Olympus in your own consciousness. Most of your life, you have been living in the valley. Your perspective is limited. You are caught up in the immediate drama, the daily struggles, the emotional weather. A small stream looks like a raging river. A small hill looks like an unclimbable mountain. Your vision is obscured by the fog of your own reactivity. The practice of accessing the Zeus perspective is a form of active, guided meditation. It is the art of lifting your point of awareness. I invite you to try this now. Close your eyes. and bring to mind a situation in your life that is currently causing you stress or confusion. A problem that you feel stuck in. Feel the emotions associated with it, the anxiety, the frustration, the sense of being trapped. You are in the valley. Now, with your imagination, I want you to begin to rise. Imagine your point of view is a camera, and it is beginning to ascend, straight up. You rise above the immediate scene of your problem. You see yourself down below, a small figure wrestling with the issue. As you rise higher, your perspective expands. You can see the road that led to this problem, and you can see the many possible roads that lead away from it. Keep rising. You are now as high as a soaring eagle. From this height, your big problem down below now looks much smaller, much less intimidating. You can see it in a wider context. You can see the other people involved, and you can see their own struggles, their own paths. A sense of compassion begins to replace your personal anxiety. Keep rising. You are now on the mountaintop. You are on Olympus. The clouds are below you. The air is clear, crisp, and silent. From here, you can see not just your own small valley, but the entire continent of your life. You can see the landscape of your childhood, the mountains of your greatest achievements, the deserts of your darkest nights. You see it all, not as a chaotic series of random events, but as a single, magnificent, and purposeful geography. You see how the painful desert crossing was necessary to lead you to the fertile valley on the other side. You see the divine, intelligent pattern woven through it all. From this Olympian perspective, you can look down at the problem you started with, and you see it for what it truly is, a single, necessary step on your soul's epic journey. A lesson. An initiation. You are no longer identified with the small self who is suffering in the valley. You are identified with the vast, wise, and eternal self who is watching the entire journey unfold with love and perfect understanding. From this perspective, what is the right action to take? The answer often becomes self-evident. It is clear, simple, obvious. The confusion was a product of being too close to the problem. From the sky perspective of the soul, there is only clarity. This is a tool you can use at any time. Whenever you feel lost in the fog of the valley, you can choose to ascend to the Olympus of your own awareness. You can choose to see your life not through the fearful eyes of your ego, but through the wise, loving eyes of your own inner Zeus. This practice will not eliminate the challenges of your life, but it will completely transform your relationship with them. They are no longer threats. They are simply part of the magnificent view from the mountain. Part 8. As you begin to embody this archetype, as you learn to wield the thunderbolt of decision and to see from the perspective of the mountain, it is essential to remember the second half of the equation. Zeus is not just a god of power. He is the king, the one who is responsible for the well-being of the entire realm. Power without responsibility is tyranny. To activate the Zeus archetype in its fullness is to embrace the great and beautiful burden of responsibility. You are no longer a victim. But that also means you can no longer be a child. You can no longer blame others. You are the one on the throne. And the state of the kingdom is your reflection. What does it mean to rule your kingdom with benevolence? It means you take responsibility for your inner weather. You understand that your own moods, your own emotional states, are not private affairs. They are the weather systems of your kingdom. If you are in a state of rage, you are creating a hurricane that buffets everyone in your household, in your workplace. If you are in a state of despair, you are creating a long, cold winter. The benevolent ruler learns the art of emotional self-regulation. They learn to process their own storms in private, so that what they broadcast to their kingdom is a climate of stability, of warmth, of life-giving sunshine. It means you take responsibility for the order of your realm. The sovereign ruler loves order, not for its own sake, but because they know that life flourishes in a container of clear, conscious structure. So, you bring this ordering principle into your life. You create order in your finances, not from a place of fear, but from a place of clarity and respect for the energy of abundance. You create order in your home, turning it into a sanctuary of peace and beauty. You create order in your time, consciously allocating your life force to the things that truly matter to your soul's mission. This is not about rigid control. It is about creating a sacred, harmonious container in which your own best self can emerge. It means you take responsibility for the well-being of your subjects. And who are your subjects? They are all the parts of yourself. They are your body. They are your emotions. They are your weaker, more vulnerable parts. The tyrant king suppresses these subjects, ignores their needs, drives them into the ground. The benevolent king listens to them. He honors the needs of his body for rest and nourishment. He creates a safe space for his emotions to be felt and heard. He protects the vulnerable, childlike parts of his own psyche. He rules his own inner world with a firm but loving hand. And it means you extend this benevolent reign to your outer kingdom. You see your family, your community, your workplace, as your realm. And you ask the sovereign question, how can I, through my presence, through my actions, create a space where others can thrive? How can I use my power to empower others? The true king does not seek to have power over others. He seeks to help others discover the power within themselves. His greatest joy is to see other sovereigns rising in his kingdom. This is the shift from a childish desire for power to a mature embodiment of it. It is the understanding that true power is not the freedom to do whatever you want. It is the responsibility to create a world of greater order, greater beauty, and greater love, starting with the kingdom of your own being. Part 9. In the myths, Zeus, the great sky father, does not rule alone. His story is inextricably intertwined with that of his consort, the queen of the gods, Hera. Hera is the goddess of the earth, of sacred commitment, of the institution of marriage. Their relationship in the myths is often stormy, a reflection of the eternal, dynamic tension between the sky and the earth, between spirit and matter, between power and relationship. The final stage of integrating the Zeus archetype is not to remain alone on your mountaintop, a detached, all-seeing sky god. The ultimate act of mastery is to bring the clarity and power of the sky down to the earth. It is to unite your sovereign power with a sacred commitment to life, to relationship, to the messy, beautiful world of form. It is the inner marriage of Zeus and Hera. To be only Zeus is to be a detached, abstract, and often lonely power. You may have a grand vision, but you are unable to bring it into form. You are all sky, no earth. Your thunderbolts remain in the clouds. To be only Hera is to be bound to the earth, to the forms, to the relationships, without the higher perspective of the sky. You may be committed, but you are blind. You are all earth, no sky. You are lost in the details of the drama, unable to see the bigger picture. The integrated sovereign, the whole human being, is the union of the two. You learn to hold your vision, Zeus, with one hand, and your commitments, Hera, with the other. You have a clear, unwavering sense of your own true north, but you also honor the sacred bonds and responsibilities of your human life. You learn to wield the power of decision, Zeus, but you temper it with the wisdom of relationship, Hera. You make choices not just for your own sovereign good, but for the good of the whole kingdom, for the well-being of those you are in a sacred contract with. You learn to live with the perspective of the mountain, Zeus, but you also learn to come down into the valley and to tend to the garden of your life with your own two hands, Hera. You are both the visionary and the gardener, the king and the farmer. This is the great alchemical wedding of power and love. It is the integration of your vertical connection to spirit, your inner Zeus, and your horizontal connection to the world, your inner Hera. When these two are united within you, you become an unstoppable force for good in the world. You have the vision of the eagle and the rootedness of the ancient oak. You have the power to command the lightning and the patience to nurture a single seed. This is the archetype of the true leader, the true creator. Not a distant god on a cloud, but an embodied god, a god with dirt under their fingernails, a god who is not afraid to weep, a god who is not afraid to rule. A god who has learned to be fully, magnificently, and divinely human. Part 10. And so we arrive at the final, quiet, and thunderously powerful realization. We have climbed the mountain. We have claimed the throne. We have forged the thunderbolt. We have learned to rule with a benevolent hand. We have united the sky and the earth within our own being. But now, we must look up from the throne, survey the vast kingdom that stretches out before us, and understand the final, ultimate secret of power. The epiphany is this: you are not the ruler of the kingdom. You are the kingdom. The entire world of your experience, your body, your health, your finances, your relationships, the very weather of your daily life, is not a separate territory that you must govern. It is a direct, living, breathing, holographic projection of your own inner state of consciousness. The kingdom is not outside of you. The kingdom is you, made visible. This is the final collapse of the duality between the ruler and the ruled. When you are in a state of inner chaos, of indecision, of self-doubt, the state of the abdicated king, the kingdom of your life reflects this as outer chaos, missed opportunities, and difficult relationships. The weather in the kingdom is stormy. When you are in a state of inner tyranny, of fear-based control, of rigid judgment, the state of the shadow king, the kingdom of your life reflects this as brittle, joyless structures, of relationships based on control, of a life that is ordered but not alive. The weather in the kingdom is cold and oppressive. And when you are in a state of inner sovereignty, of clear vision, of benevolent power, of unshakable peace, the state of the integrated Zeus, the kingdom of your life reflects this as outer grace, as flow, as synchronicities, as loving and respectful relationships, as a flourishing abundance. The weather in the kingdom is sunny and life-giving. This is the ultimate responsibility and the ultimate freedom. It means that if you want to change any condition in your kingdom, you do not go out and fight the condition. You do not try to manipulate the subjects. You do not even try to make a new law. You simply go within. You return to your throne. And you change yourself. You change your own state of being. You do not attract success. You embody the sovereign energy of which success is the natural reflection. You do not manifest power. You become the inner authority and clarity that is power. You do not create order in your life. You are the ordering principle itself. Your only work, your only true power, is the mastery of your own consciousness. Everything else is just a reflection in the mirror of the world. And in this final knowing, you can finally relax. The great and heavy burden of ruling is lifted. You are not a busy king, running around trying to manage a vast and unruly kingdom. You are the sun. And your only job is to shine. And as you shine, as you simply and effortlessly radiate the light of your own sovereign, coherent, and loving being, the entire kingdom is nourished, is ordered, is healed, and is brought into a state of flourishing grace, all on its own. You are not the king. You are the kingdom. And you are the sun that shines upon it. And the power to create heaven on earth has been, and always will be, a simple, quiet, and profound shift within your own heart. The throne is not empty anymore. You are on it. Not the you of your personality, but the you that is the silent, sovereign, and all-creating presence. If this journey has helped you to remember the ruler within, subscribe and continue to walk this path of benevolent power with us. Your kingdom has been waiting for you. And your reign has just begun.